Greetings, everyone. This is Emery, your host for this season. Welcome to the first Global Podcast. For today's episode, we're going to be reviewing some team highlights from the past 2 weeks, and we're going to be interviewing some members of the Global STEM Corps from Team First Aid, who are both from Bangladesh. Make sure to stay tuned so you can hear about these volunteers' experiences as participants from the first Global Challenge and now as volunteers. Last week, teams wrapped up their projects as they finalized Phase 1 of the Solutions Challenge. Teams have now moved on to Phase 2, forming alliances with teams from other continents to work together in Phase 3 to create unified global solutions to the problems they identified. We're so excited to see how teams creatively work together. Teams have also been receiving their CubeSat prototype kits and Rev Robotics kits of parts and will begin working on the CubeSat Prototype Challenge and Robotics Challenge. Look at those eager faces. In a previous podcast, we highlighted how Team Spider and Team Inspiration took their roles as volunteers in the Global STEM Corps to the next level by providing year-round and even in-person support to their mentees. But they're not the only ones. Members of the Wizards XE team, who were also Team United States of America in 2018, recently returned from a trip to meet with their GSC mentees from Team Comoros. They spent a week teaching them various technical and soft skills and introduced many students to using computers for the first time. Way to go, Team Wizards! And lastly, check out this community portrait of the teams participating in the 2021 First Global Challenge, created from the submissions to the Picture This social media challenge demonstrating their project categories. Now that's global impact. For today's episode, we are joined by Sujoy and Razeen, who are both First Global alumni from Bangladesh and Global STEM Corps volunteers. Sujoy was the programming leader when he participated in the first Global Challenge from 2017 to 2020, and he's now a senior in high school. Apart from being a GSC volunteer, Sujoy is working on a telemedicine healthcare project for the elderly and underserved communities. Razeen participated in the first Global Challenge from 2018 to 2020 and is now a first-year student at the University of Toronto, where he studies computer science and math. And apart from being a volunteer, Razeen also started a Python club at his high school where he taught coding to students from grade 5 to 8. And in an effort to give back after their first global experiences, they partnered with alumni from Team Nepal to create Team First Aid and provide technical mentorship to students through the Global STEM Corps. They're currently mentoring Team Antigua and Barbuda. Thank you guys both for joining us today. The first question that we want to know is, how would you describe your first global experience? And what is your favorite memory from participating in the first Global Challenge?
First Global Challenge experience has been awesome for all 4 years. The concept of First Global is really out of the world, like seeing all 190 plus countries under one roof. It's like one sentence that makes it really, rememberable in my head is in Dubai. Their Ministry of AI, while their Minister of AI, while giving a speech in the opening ceremony, said, "It's not Dubai right now is not a city in the world. It's the world in a city." So that really resonates for all, 3 years and online. That also, even though that was a bit different. But yeah, like the experience of having so many countries in one place and all of us are united by one mission of making the world better through the tools of STEM. That's just awesome. And a specific memory is hard to say. There's like a lot. Yeah, like meeting Dean Kamen, working on the robots, the arenas. It's all awesome, I guess. Yeah.
For me, I would describe First Global as adventurous. You never know what's gonna happen, because you might have to make last moment modifications to your robot. You don't know who you're going to be paired up with till the actual competition comes in. So you just have to be ready for everything. And that makes it really interesting and worthwhile doing. And as for my favorite memory, that's really hard to say because there are lots of moments which I really enjoyed in First Global. But I guess my most favorite would be when in during 2018 First Global Mexico, just everyone in the same hotel room floor meeting in one room and just getting to know each other, having pizzas, and just socializing. That was really fun and memorable for me.
Yeah, I absolutely love both of your answers, getting to hear about some of the in-person experiences that you guys had, and hopefully that First Global can have again in the future. And speaking of the difficulties that Razeen touched on a little bit, what's a problem you faced while participating in the First Global Challenge, and how did you overcome it? Razeen, would you like to go first?
Sure. One of the main problems, which I'm sure almost everyone faced, almost most countries face for First Global, is getting your robot kits out of the customs because the government doesn't know what it is, and so the process of going through it every year, and it's a hassle, but at the end, when you finally get it after sometimes after 1 or 2 months, and just getting straight to work is you know is interesting. you know
Yeah, I'm sure. Sujoy?
Yeah, the one Razeen pointed out is really, yeah, we really face that. But yeah, there have been a plethora of problems. Like in 2017, we went to the competition and then we were like, this robot doesn't work. We built it again overnight. 2018, there was like visa issues. 2019, uh, we had to work on a very tight schedule. And 2020 happened online. There's always some sort of problem, but it working through it and just making the best of it makes all the experience worth it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, Sujoy, can you talk a little bit more about how you were able to um, end up building that robot overnight? Like, how were you able to overcome this challenge?
So we had a initial. So the first time, FGC 2017, we were a very rookie team. In Bangladesh, we hadn't worked on stuff like first before. There's the robotics culture that much, at least in high school level. So yeah, we built a robot. We weren't sure. We couldn't build like a proper. First of all, we got the kit late and the stuff, so we couldn't like build an arena and stuff. So we couldn't test it out properly. So we had a very good, complicated design in our heads, and we built that. And then while during the practice rounds, we saw that it doesn't really work. So we, went out, talked to other people, other teams. Bolivia helped out a lot that year, and like we got some inspiration. Went back to our dorm that year, which was at George Washington University, and then we went into one room and we just built that. We took it apart and built the entire robot in a totally different design format. So yeah, and we deducted a lot of features to make it less complicated. And yeah, we didn't do super high that year, but we did decent for our first year in terms of the ranks. We did it was 81st or something like that. Yeah. So that's a, and the kit, I would like to say, when you get the kit after it's stuck and then you open it, that's like another awesome experience also. Like, yeah, yeah, that's a very nice way to kick off first. Yeah.
That sounds like really, really exciting and stressful and a lot of fun all at the same time. Um, so I also know that you guys are both alum of First Global for around 1 year now. What have you done in terms of STEM since becoming a First Global alum? Razeen, would you like to go first?
yeah, sure. So first, for me, really, made me understand what I truly enjoy doing in terms of STEM. And because of that, I started a programming club at my school, where I teach programming to juniors around grade 5 to 8, some in grade 10. And you know, sharing my passion, knowing that other people are also enjoying STEM in this way, learning to code and showing genuine interest in it, that really, you know, um, that really helps, spread the awareness of STEM and, you know, m- make it more recognized in a country like Bangladesh, where coding isn't that popular so far. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You know.
Sujoy?
So so First Global does this really awesome thing of lighting a spark, I guess. So from being like just starting out in 2017, and as like I knew I wanted to do programming. I like programming, wasn't really good at it at that time, maybe, but yeah, I wanted to do that. And but then First Level gave me that encouragement to pursue more in STEM, and I really got interested in biomedical engineering. And yeah, that's what I want to pursue in the future. And in terms of STEM, I have worked on the project which we are working on to make like telemedicine devices to make healthcare more accessible for underprivileged people and elderly people in Bangladesh. It's called Medification. And yeah, it's just a small student project, but we are trying to do something using STEM, the awesome tools of STEM to impact like real lives. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I love to hear about both of the paths that you guys are taking. It sounds like Razeen, you're like giving back to the community in terms of helping students who are maybe in a similar position to you in the past, and Sujoy taking what you've learned and like contributing to the community in that way through telehealth, which is going to be really, really big. So I think you guys touched on this a little bit, but I wanted to hear how you think First Global has contributed to your personal journey in pursuing an education in STEM, whether that be what your interest, or I want to hear about what your interest looked like in STEM before you joined First Global, and then how First Global then contributed to your continued or new interest in STEM. Sujoy, would you like to go first?
So First Global is really awesome to like light a spark or get you encouraged in doing something in STEM. So before First Global, I wasn't like sure what to do with anything, I guess. So all I knew was I like programming, and I got recruited for this to do programming. And yeah, I wasn't that good yet also. So I am not that good also now, but yeah, I got better. Uh, so the thing is, but First Global not only teaches you about STEM through like the technical challenges and the competition and the robotics kits and stuff. It also uh, it also it also encourages you by showing you this community of people around the world who are working on real projects in STEM, and real projects in STEM to impact the world. And STEM is not just something that you would study to get a job and get a good salary, but it's something that you can all do to actually have a proper impact in the world. So that really enticed me from the beginning. So one of the more empowering things was looking at like Dean Kamen, who even though he's from a different country and his story, but his work in biomedical engineering especially, and his work from when he was a college student using like the insulin pumps and stuff. So that was really awesome, and that really got me interested in biomedical engineering among other things. And I started tinkering with it, and ultimately now I'm like sure I want to do nothing but biomedical engineering, and probably do my own thing and impact the world, especially through providing healthcare services to underprivileged communities or underserved communities that are not getting the access to health technology that they should.
So My answer is quite similar to Sujoy's in the sense that I always knew I was interested in technology and all that and maths. But Forest Global really, made me realize this is actually what I really want to do in my life. From the first time, I coded something and saw a robot arm move. That really inspired me that, oh, I can actually do stuff which affects the real world. And from that point onwards, learning more complex code and making your code more efficient so your robot is in performance better. And even outside of making robots, like just making scripts, websites, it really showed me the possibilities that programming and STEM in general can do, how positively can affect the real world. That was really inspiring to me, and you know it made me realize that, okay, if I focus on this for the rest of my life, I'm sure you know I can do something which will leave the world as a better place than I came in. That's why I really want to pursue this moving forward in my life.
That's amazing to hear. And I love that you guys both pointed out that STEM is for, in a lot of ways, improving the world. And it's not about making money, it's about making people's lives better. I wanted to make sure before asking this question, you guys are both coming back as volunteers?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
And yeah, so what inspires or motivates you to return to First Global as a volunteer to shape the experiences of other students? Razeen, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Um, on, After doing Forest Global for 3 years straight now, I just couldn't leave it, because every year it has been a unique and amazing experience for me. And I know that every year there are people who come for whom it's their first time doing it. And, I remember my first time, I was super confused. Like there's so many things to know about and learn in like 3-4 months period. So, being able to help them and, guide them through the entire process, just be there to help them out is something which I actually enjoy, just helping others out and making their life a tad bit easier, and being an inspiration for them and showing that, even if a problem might seem really hard, it's solvable almost 99% of the time. Not to worry about it, not to panic, and just keep moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. Sujoy?
So First Global, the experience of First Global is like, so I had the opportunity to do First Global for 4 years, starting from the beginning of First Global uh, in 2017. So it's very addictive, I would say, and I have been doing it ever since. Um, so First Global 2017, 2018, 2020, and I was finally getting to the end of my high school career. So I was like, yeah, I need to find another way to continue doing this. So I guess GSC was the uh, way I chose. And we had really awesome GSC experiences previously from 2017, 18, and 19. One that comes to mind is Ian from 2018. He was a Harvard student. He helped us a lot. He was a Yale student. He helped us a lot. He was studying mechanical engineering, helps us a lot with our robot. He was one of our GST volunteers that year. So it was really interesting, like helping out in that way. And the volunteers, I thought it looked really fun doing it. And you can do it for a lot longer time than being a member. And it's a good way also to give back to First Global. And yeah, I really uh, like doing First Global, and I would like to continue it in other ways, from volunteering to maybe doing, helping out in First Global to other first competitions, maybe, which we don't have in Bangladesh, but soon maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great to hear that you guys would like to give back to First Global and other students who, again, are in maybe a similar position that you are. I also wanted to hear, since you guys have mentioned like a few names here and there, Ian from Yale, or also I know that Sujoy, you know Shishir and like are able to contact him outside of this Zoom call or something like that. I wanted to hear about your experiences with like meeting people from other teams. Obviously, you guys are both from Team Bangladesh, but maybe you can tell a story of someone that you met from outside of your own team and how that might have impacted your perspective on anything. Sujoy, do you want to go first?
Sure. So yeah, like meeting people is a very important part of First Global. Even for someone like me who was very antisocial before I started first, but there you really have to communicate with your alliances and like people around the world. So yeah, it's interesting breaking all those barriers. There's like often a culture barrier, there might be a language barrier, and but at the end of the year, you're united by STEM. So I guess like a specific story, 2017. There is a lot, but like maybe I can start like 2017. One of the main teams that helped us is in Bolivia, and they had like we were a very rookie team, and as I previously mentioned, and we don't know what to do with the robot, and there was like a lifting challenge. So they helped us a lot with you know solving that problem and lifting the robot with the uh, bar of the arena or the game area. But where I messed up was during writing the code. So there are two joysticks. So I put the up function in one joystick, but I put the down in the other one. And during the competition, they cannot find how to lower it. They're messing with the first. They're pressing all the buttons on the first one. They didn't check the second one. I by mistakenly put gamepad 2 instead of gamepad 1, and we lost that match. And Bolivia helped us a lot, so they also lost that match. And like yeah, I was crying because I the code messed up everything. So yeah, that's one. And yeah, like it's like every year you meet someone in 2018 and 2019 we met. For me, team Nepal, Shishir and Sajin, who are both in the GSC team, I met them, and they were the only two people who could come to their from their country because the others had visa issues and immigration issues, so they had to go back from there. But yeah, so I met them. I met Bhutan, and we are like really good friends with. I'm like good friends with those two teams, and there are like a lot of other teams. Like I couldn't probably finish mentioning them, but yeah, it's awesome. And First Global makes it worth it. I guess it's also the credit of all the teams participating. I think Razin can also add up a lot onto this one. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like there are like tons of teams we've interacted with and had any very unique experiences and fun experiences with them. One of my most fond memories is that in 2018 we met with Team UK. Normally just got to know each other and all that, casual like everything. We got in touch on social media. In 2019 we met with him again. Half of the team was the same. Half of our team was the same. So we were like, oh hey, we meet again and all that. And so after that in 2019 we sort of formed an alliance of some sort where we help to research, like help scout other teams, know what they're like, how to compete against them. So just having a natural alliance with them and help each other out with data. And so we were both able to progress forward and enrich the leaderboard. So that was really fun, just naturally just working out, seeing them in different places. So yeah.
Yeah, it's so good to hear about that because, like, First Global, as you guys I'm sure are aware, it is so much about STEM, but it's also so much about bringing communities together around the world and what, like, very special experiences that can bring aside from other more regular STEM experiences. So I also wanted to hear, what is the biggest lesson you think you learned from participating in the first global challenge, whether that be through
STEM again, very specifically, or also other soft skills or general life lessons that you might have learned?
So I'll go ahead. For me, it would definitely be communication. Because I remember before First Global, I was extremely introverted. I couldn't, you know, I didn't interact much with people through talking and all that. But while doing First Global, you basically have to communicate with your team and other teams, to to make sure everything's working, make sure all the matches go smoothly and as planned, and just continuously doing that over and over before every match and just talking to your team. That really helped me improve my communication skills and made me more confident when it comes to speaking in a social situation, and that's a lesson which has stuck with me ever since. So yeah.
Yeah, certainly. Sujoy?
Yeah, I would like, yeah, Razeen's answer was pretty good. It really, teaches you how to communicate, especially when you're communicating on the basis of uh, STEM or like a real world project that, or like a ultimate, you're doing like a game plan in First Global with your alliances. So that really, the communication thing is really, but it also like, yeah, skills, you learn a lot of skills from programming to the soft skills, like Razeen said, like communicating with people, learning about different cultures, like truly being a global person. And but ultimately, it gives you confidence or inspiration, or I don't know, you could call it maybe a push to pursue and hone those skills more. And it would be really awesome if more people around the world had access to First Global, because it's really life changing, or first programs in general. It's really life changing that you too. Maybe I wasn't that confident in my skills before First Global. Maybe I'm not that good yet, but at least we have that motivation to push on. Otherwise, you might have just given up on STEM, or because the system isn't like educationally, or yeah, I think Dean came in. One of the things he said in some interview was uh, that not necessarily the next STEM person, or like you going into STEM wouldn't always be dictated to you in a traditional manner. I'm paraphrasing a lot. That maybe you're doing good in school with science or stuff. That might not be the person. That person who isn't doing that good could also be very awesome at building the robot or programming it, or maybe there are other roles around it, like writing the engineering notebook or communicating game plans, leading the team. So yeah, all of that, like it's the combination, I guess. That's just awesome, I would say. I don't know if that answered the question or not.
Yeah, no, definitely. In terms of what Razeen was saying about communication, Sujoy about determination, I think both are super important. And I love hearing about how much First Global has like impacted you and how you'd hope that it would spread. And I think like seeing what you guys like are giving back to your community and what so many other teams are doing to help other countries build similar competitions within their own countries is good to hear that there's like similar sentiment between First Global participants all around.
Maybe I could add a bit to that answer.
Go ahead.
So, two key principles of First Global are co-opetition, which I guess is a bit overlooked in like other sorts of competitions, or in general whilst doing STEM, like the communication bit, which we mentioned before, but the cooperating with the other countries or other people to make the proper impact in the world. And also another thing is gracious professionalism, which is like coined by Woody Allen, who was also one of the Woody Flowers. Extremely sorry. I hope you cut that out. Woody Flowers, who was MIT professor, and he was one of the first founders of FIRST, who passed away in 2019, I think. Rest in peace. But yeah, his ideals of gracious professionalism. It's not just about competing to be the best, but there is something more to working towards goal to make the world a better place. That really resonates with me.
Yeah. Thank you for that addendum to your answer. I really liked it. And I love that you're able to bring in so many examples of like quotes and things that you've heard from other people throughout your experiences as well. So we're down to our final question. Many of the students or many of the people in general listening to this podcast are interested in pursuing a career in STEM and are in the same position you were a few years ago. So what advice do you have for students who are interested in pursuing a career in STEM? Razeen, you can go first.
All right. My advice would be simple. Just go for it, because at the end, you know that every other day there's always a breakthrough in technology, maths, wherever, engineering. And you know that it's possible to do great things with STEM. So I would just say just go for it. And even if you realize that, it may be not for you, the worst thing that could happen is that you'll learn from your experience, right? And that's a really good thing at the end of the day. And then again, like even though STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, maths, and even art, right? It's a very broad area field of study. There's so many things you can do, and I'm 90% sure you can find something in it which you love and which you'll probably be happy doing for the rest of your life. And so just be confident and just go for it. That's the advice.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I mean, that's really good advice to like just like at least try something.
Yeah.
And then also, like you said, like STEM is so broad. Even if that's not what you end up specifically studying, there's something that you can learn from STEM that maybe you can apply in anything else that you do. Sujoy?
Yeah, I think Razeen answered that really well, and I really like I'm really early in my career, and so career advice might be not exactly what I would call it, but yeah, sticking to it is really good. Just trying it out, just seeing if you don't knock it until you try it. And yeah, and STEM, like Razeen mentioned, like programming, you could program and include small automations or stuff like that in like a lot of careers, or mathematical thinking. A lot of that helps out in, that's very interdisciplinary. We have people who did the first global program before and studied something that's not STEM, but they still got like that mathematical thinking or that problem solving skills that they need to do law or whatever they need to do. So yeah, I guess I am not that advanced in my career yet to talk about career stuff, but I guess just try it out. I guess you'll like it. And there's STEM is very broad, so having that courage to just explore, I guess that's something that's awesome. Yeah. And if you, another thing is like, if you like it, if you like STEM, if you have a true passion or anything, you just pursue it. So maybe a short story I could add to that is our 2018 2019 our technical mentor, 2019 and 2020. So from 20, he was helping out from before, like 2017, but he became the official mentor in 2019 and 2020, the technical mentor, Shoaib Mirza. So his story is very inspiring, and that, if you ask me, like one of the more inspiring stories of First Global, that didn't happen at first, that happened at First Global, I guess, but that was more so related to our team, was his story. So he did not have much access to STEM education or anything like that. He grew up in a village in Bangladesh, and he wasn't supposed to go to STEM. His career paths from his family and everything was more so traditional, for religious school. But he then potentially came to the city. You could say he ran away and then pursued the skills without any formal education. And he had no formal education. He did it all on his own. He learned the skills. He was tinkering from the beginning, and now he's a researcher, one of the private university, one of the universities in Bangladesh. And yeah, and he's really awesome, and he has this passion, and he is really good with the mechanical stuff. And he really got our team to 7th in Dubai, from like we had ranks in the hundreds, and then we were 7th and then 1st in 2020. So he really followed through with his passion, no matter what society told him or what resources he had, which I would say it's not like that it's an even playing field. It's not. And different people have different access to resources, but just stick to it if you really like it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that story. I loved all the ones that you were able to share with me. Thank you guys both, Razeen and Sujoy, for joining me today. Thank you so much to Sujoy and Razeen for being a part of today's podcast episode, and thank you all for listening. Make sure to continue tuning in by subscribing, and I look forward to the rest of this season. Let's discover and recover.